Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're here with Sean Brooks, realtor from Innovate Real Estate Group in Delaware, and I wanted to share this presentation with you, folks that have a property and you're looking to rent the property out or rent rooms out, and what has changed since COVID, and what are the pros and cons to doing so. All right, so you want to make smart post-pandemic real estate decisions. It's the reason why I created this. I work with a lot of landlords, and I have placed people in rentals in the past, and some has been good, some has been okay, and some has been a nightmare. So I just decided to put this together for you folks that wanted to know a little bit more. And this is for informational purposes only. Doesn't apply to everybody. These situations doesn't happen to everybody, but just wanted to make you guys aware. All right, so a little bit more about me. It's presented by myself. My name is Sean Brooks. I actually work with Innovate Real Estate, currently in Delaware, Newark, Delaware. I service the whole entire state. So if you guys want to buy, sell, rent, want to learn about investing, you can reach out to me also. All right, so let's get into it. All right, let's go. All right, so let's talk about COVID-19 pandemic. It permanently changed housing, work, rental trends. Many homeowners now exploring renting parts or all of the property. This presentation reviews the financial, legal, and lifestyle pros and cons. All right, so let's talk about the environment. Remote work increased suburban and small market rentals. All right. So it increased in that particular segment. Short-term rental platforms boomed and then stabilized. Inflation and interest rates affected profitability. Homeowners seek creative income strategies also during this particular time. Okay. One thing it created, it was constant cash flow, tax advantages, flexibility to return or sell later, like if that was maybe an option that you guys were looking to do. Maintain ownership and appreciation potential. All right, what are the tenant risks? Miss rent or damage. All right, this is critical because during the pandemic, as some of you guys know, most of you may know, some may not be aware, but the federal government allowed for renters not to pay, not to pay. What did that do going forward? It opened up the door for renters not to pay. And also doing not paying, many rental units that were being rented were damaged. Okay. Now, the other thing was vacancies reduce cash flow. So pay attention to that first one. Risk missed payments. When your tenant misses the payment, who has to make the payment? Because you still have a mortgage on that property, and the mortgage company doesn't want to hear, "Oh, I was renting my property and the tenant didn't pay." Okay. So maintenance and management responsibilities come along with that, with renting properties. Legal compliance with Delaware landlord laws also. This is where you could be at a huge disadvantage. And you might want to get familiar with the Delaware landlord laws. These are very, very important because the laws are geared towards the tenant. They're geared towards the tenant. Okay. Now, you can earn extra income without moving. That's one great advantage. Easier short-term or flexible arrangements. Like you could rent a room for 30, or you could rent the property out for 30 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You can be very flexible there. Tax deductions for portions, um, expenses. Strong demand post COVID. So a lot of people are looking for rentals, maybe to rent a room, because if renting a room it could be cheaper. All right. So with doing so though, if you're living in the property and you're renting rooms, it limits your privacy. Now you have to share your space with an individual, and consistent income. You may have a rental, rent it out for like a week, 2 weeks, and then you're looking for a tenant. All right. Personal and safety concerns. You never know who you're living with. Insurance covered adjustments also needed. You have to look into your insurance policy to see how you can protect yourself and protect your property, and so on and so on. So you want to talk to your insurance agent. Short term Airbnb, higher but variable income. Frequent turnover though. It comes with a lot of frequent turnover. Long term stable income, lower management. It's lower management with long term rentals versus short term rentals. Choose based on your income goals and flexibility. You do have that option, and you can structure that in many different ways. If you need help with that, I can actually help you with that too. All right, legal and tax considerations. Confirm zoning and permits. All right, so depending upon where you live at, you want to check with that area. Like in the city of Wilmington, you want to check with the city of Wilmington to see what are the zoning and the permits, because you might need a rental permit, if I'm not mistaken, in some areas in Delaware. Follow Delaware tenant landlord code, landlord and tenant code. You can get a copy of that off the website. It's out there. Consider LLC for liability purposes. So uh, you want to structure it correctly. So this way, um, you're protecting yourself and your property. Keep detailed income expenses records. You want to make sure you have a record of that. Always written leases, right? All right. And so let's talk about the lease though. Never do a verbal lease. A written lease is what you need. Also, what you need is a ironclad, strong written lease to protect you and your property. All right. So what you want to do there is maybe meet with a realtor, an attorney. Sorry, I was getting a little yarn there. Sorry about that. To make sure your property fits your specific needs and protection. All right. Now you want to also do this, right? Preparing your home to rent, complete maintenance and safety checks. You want to make sure the property is safe. Now, in Delaware, I'll use Delaware because that's my home base. In Delaware, in the city of Wilmington, you have to get a rental license, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I think some of the things that come along with that is the property is going to be inspected to make sure it's safe, make sure the maintenance is up to par. So that'll be your due diligence and your check right there. All right, stage and photograph professionally. So you make your place appealing when you go to list it, when you're searching for a rental. Research rental rates. You want to know what are the rates going for where your house is located within maybe a half a mile, a mile. You want to screen tenants, right? So you want to have some type of program that can do background checks, that can screen your tenants to make sure you're getting a tenant that meets the criteria. And you might want to consider professional management, like a property manager. I would highly advise a property manager. I'm not a property manager. I can do it, but that's not my wheelhouse. I will recommend you to a reputable professional with a good track record, professional property manager. All right, post-COVID tenant expectations. All right, we want to talk about that. Clean, well-maintained homes, remote work-friendly spaces, high-speed internet included, contactless lease options, responsive landlord communication. This is key. This is very important. You want to have great communication. You want to outline everything specifically and basically make sure you're doing it in emails because that's going to be your proof of a conversation or a conflict or anything. All right, financial planning before renting. You want to calculate rent versus expenses. You want to include your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Keep reserve funds. Now, this is funds that you don't want to touch. You want to set aside, keep them 3 to 6 months, just in case of emergency. All right. Align with your financial goals also. That's very, very important. All right. All right. When renting, make sense. All right. So these are some of the categories. Temporary relocation, extra space or a basement unit. If you have that extra space, you have a basement unit. Maybe great to utilize and get some additional income from that space that you're not using. All right. Market ideal for selling. All right. So you want to market the property, um, not ideal for selling. All right. So you're marketing it to rent. Now, we're renting a space or a whole entire house. It's long-term wealth strategies that you want to discuss. You might want to meet with a financial planner, financial advisor, to really look at the financial implications of renting your property out. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a realtor, but I can recommend you to somebody. All right. So when selling might be better. All right. So this is when selling might be better in your particular situation. Avoid tenant issues, major repairs needed. Might be better to sell. Strong sales market. If the market is strong, you might want to capitalize now, right? And cash in. Need cash for your next investment. Uh, Basically that's equity. So if you bought your property for let's say 150,000 and now the property is worth 350,000, you made yourself 200,000. Plus you can add in whatever the remainder of that mortgage. So if you down to 130, so you got now 200 from the difference of 150 to 350. That's 200 plus the 20,000, right? From the 150 to down like 130. All right. So that'll be money in your pocket that you can invest in your next property, whether you want to go up or down. All right. Now, before I go through this part, this final stage, right? I want to just talk about something though. And this is something to think about. So, like I said, we'll use the example you purchase a property for 150,000. It's now 350,000. It's great to rent the property out and make some additional income, pay down some debts. Uh, you're going to gain equity while the property going up in value. Now, I want you to think this, right? Because some people will tell you, you maybe need to sell the property. Others will say, hey, renting can be a nightmare. And I will discuss a few of the examples of what I mean by nightmare. But here's my question to each and every person. If you had to buy that same property again, Could you purchase that property again for 150,000 in the current market today? The answer most likely is going to be no, because the property values have gone up tremendously. Now, it's something to think about before you think about selling. Renting could be for you, and then renting may not be for you. So let me give you some nightmares about what happened about COVID. So, as I said before, tenants discovered during COVID that they did not have to pay. So many tenants stopped paying. It created a huge problem for landlords because the mortgage was still due. It was no out, mortgage was still due. So when the tenant didn't pay, the landlord had to fork over the monthly payment. For some people, that was a nightmare. For some people, it created a huge financial burden. For some people, they had to take a forbearance. And the forbearance meant that the mortgage company allowed you to put those missed payments at the back end, but it extended the mortgage, basically the years. And basically, uh, with extending, it created more interest, basically. So it's something to think about because tenants can stop paying. Now, it could be very uncomfortable if you're renting rooms. Okay. Now, the part that you need to think about is this. If a tenant stops paying, you have to file the proper paperwork to go to court to court to evict the person. Now, the way the laws or the courts work in Delaware, if you file the form incorrectly, the judges will make you start all over again. So this is where a property manager, a knowledgeable professional, seasoned um, property manager comes into play. How much does a property manager cost to manage your property? And basically, it hides um, that you're the owner also. So the tenant may not know that you're the owner because they're dealing with the property management company. Now, generally, it ranges, I think, between 10 and 15% of the monthly rent. So if you're charging 1,200, 10% is 120,000. I mean, $120. All right. So, but it's worth the 120 because they will deal with the nightmares. They will deal with the complaints about having stuff fixed. They will deal with late rent. They will deal with the interactions between the tenant and you as the property owner. It protects you. So I want you to think about that. All right. Now, in these final thoughts, renting can be profitable if managed wisely. It can be. Balance income potential with responsibilities. It can be great for that. It can provide you extra money for your lifestyle. All right. The other thing, consult with a realtor. I would recommend that 100%. Also, an attorney and a tax professional because each component has something to contribute to that process of you determining if you should rent a room or a property out. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me. My telephone number is 302-285-9604. You could also find me at buy, BUI, DE home.com. That's my website. And I'll share that with you in this video. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I would love to talk and have a discussion and help you come to a conclusion if you should rent or if you should sell. or if you should rent a room. I can't tell you which one to pick. You have to come up with that decision. All right. So hopefully this presentation has helped you. And if you have other people that's contemplating the same exact thing, be sure to reach out to me. I'll be delighted to talk to them. All right. So take care. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Give me some feedback. Um, because I want to produce a little bit more videos also. All right. So here's my contact information. Foley, Sean Brooks, Innovate Real Estate. There's my email address. Oh, my phone number is not in there. Wow. Thought I put that in there. I thought I put the social sites. I'll give that to you guys later. Telephone number is 302-285-9604. Again, 302-285-9604. All right. Thanks for taking our time to review this video.